The observation deck of the Crovenite flagship hummed with the usual efficiency of a species that had conquered 47 star systems in 3 centuries. Commander Zeltos stood before the panoramic viewport, his triple-jointed fingers interlaced behind his chitinous back as he watched the human settlement below, on the moon designated Resource Point 7. "They are primitives," his tactical officer, Norvash, said with the clicking rhythm of dismissive certainty. "Their weapons are chemical propellants. Their vessels barely achieve light speed. This will be concluded before the 3rd moon cycle." Zeltos nodded slowly, though something in his primary brainstem registered unease. The humans had only been space-capable for 2 standard centuries. By all logical metrics, they should surrender within hours of the Crovenite fleet's arrival. Every other species had. The invasion began at dawn. Zeltos watched through tactical displays as the first wave of Crovenite shock troops descended upon the human military compound, designated Forward Base Sentinel. The base was small, housing perhaps 300 human soldiers. The Crovenites deployed 2,000 elite warriors, their plasma rifles charged and combat exoskeletons gleaming in the pale light of the moon's twin suns. The humans did not run. This was the first anomaly. Through the command feed, Zeltos observed a human soldier standing atop a defensive wall. She was unremarkable by human standards, wearing their crude ballistic armor and holding one of their powder-based rifles. Her name tag identified her as Sergeant Kira Mendez. A Crovenite warrior, Thex, raised his plasma blade and hurled it with the enhanced strength of his combat suit. The weapon spun through the air, a wheel of superheated death capable of slicing through reinforced titanium. It was a killing technique the Crovenites had perfected over millennia, used to intimidate and eliminate enemy commanders from distance. What happened next would be replayed across every Crovenite tactical database for years to come. Sergeant Mendez moved, not away, not down seeking cover. She stepped forward, her hand extending into the path of the spinning blade. Her fingers closed around the weapon's handle with impossible precision, stopping its rotation as casually as one might catch a thrown piece of fruit. The superheated edge hovered mere centimeters from her unprotected face. She held it there for exactly 2 seconds, letting every Crovenite in visual range see what she had done. Then she smiled, flipped the blade once in her palm and hurled it back. Thex died before his synapses could process the motion. On the flagship, every officer in the command center went absolutely still. Zeltos felt his secondary heart skip a beat. Norvash's mandibles hung open in a posture of biological impossibility. "Replay that," Zeltos commanded, his voice stripped of its earlier confidence. They watched it 17 times. Each viewing confirmed the same horrifying truth. The human had not merely caught the blade through luck or accident. Her movement had been calculated, practiced, refined. She had known exactly where to position her hand, exactly how much force to apply, exactly when to close her fingers. The motion spoke of a species that had spent countless generations honing such skills. "How long have they been at war?" Zeltos asked quietly. Norvash pulled up the human historical database, his claws trembling as he scrolled through the data. His skin paled to a sickly gray. "Commander, according to their records, they have been in a state of organized warfare for approximately 12,000 of their years. That is 6 times longer than our entire recorded history. Surely that cannot be correct. The data is verified across multiple independent sources. Commander, they have had over 15,000 distinct military conflicts in just the last 200 years. They wage war against each other continuously, even as they expand into space. They have been fighting since before they developed agriculture." Zeltos pulled up a tactical feed showing the battle below. The humans were not merely defending. They were advancing. 300 soldiers were systematically dismantling a force nearly 7 times their size. They moved with the fluid coordination of a species born to combat, using tactics that seemed to anticipate every Crovenite maneuver before it occurred. A human medic identified as Dr. James Okafor fought his way through plasma fire to reach a wounded comrade. He took 3 direct hits to his armor, stumbled, then continued forward as if the impacts were nothing more than inconveniences. He retrieved the fallen soldier, performed field surgery under active fire, and had the wounded man combat ready within 6 minutes. Another human, Private Yuki Tanaka, disabled a Crovenite heavy walker using nothing but explosives she assembled from materials found in the compound's maintenance shed. The walker's destruction created an opening that the humans exploited with ruthless efficiency, pouring fire through the gap and collapsing the entire Crovenite right flank. Recall the troops, Zelthos said. Commander? Norvash turned, confusion written across his features. Recall them now. Full retreat. Prepare the fleet for emergency departure. But we have overwhelming numbers, superior technology. Do we? Zelthos gestured at the displays. They catch our blades mid-air, Norvash. They catch them. Do you understand what that means? It means that somewhere in their evolutionary history they developed reflexes capable of snatching weapons from the air during combat. It means this is normal to them. Natural. They have been doing this to each other for longer than we have existed as a spacefaring civilization. He pulled up comparative data, his hands shaking. Look at their entertainment, their cultural output. They make art about war. They write poetry about combat. They create elaborate games simulating conflict. War is not an aberration for them. It is their default state. Every innovation in their technology comes from military application first. Every generation of humans is raised on stories of their warriors. On the screen below, Sergeant Mendez coordinated a counterattack that drove the Crovanite forces into a prepared kill zone. She still held the plasma blade, using it with the casual familiarity of someone who had trained with similar weapons for years. We have been conquerors for 3 centuries, Zelthos continued, his voice hollow. We defeated 47 species, but those species were like us. They understood war as a rare, terrible thing, an anomaly to be ended quickly. But humans? He shook his head. Humans understand war as their natural environment. They excel in it. They thrive in it. And we just announced our presence by attacking them. The retreat order went out. Crovanite forces began withdrawing, but the humans pursued with terrifying efficiency. They had captured Crovanite weapons and were already using them, having apparently deciphered the controls through simple observation and experimentation. Several human soldiers were piloting captured exoskeletons, adapting to the alien technology within minutes. As the flagship prepared to jump to faster-than-light speeds, Zelthos watched the humans claim victory. They did not celebrate. They immediately began fortifying positions, treating wounded and analyzing captured equipment. They were already preparing for the next battle. Update the database, Zelthos ordered. Classify human space as extreme hazard. Recommend full diplomatic engagement immediately, and send a message to the Council. He paused, watching Sergeant Mendez instruct her troops on the proper handling of plasma blades. Tell them we have encountered a species that makes war the way we make art. Tell them we found Earth's children among the stars. He looked at Norvash, whose skin had gone completely pale. And tell them we are very, very fortunate they seem willing to negotiate. The flagship jumped, leaving human space behind. In the command center, officers began drafting the most comprehensive surrender terms the Crovanite Empire had ever offered. They had learned what smarter species would eventually understand. When humans catch blades from the air without thinking, when they smile in the face of plasma fire, when 300 of them can root 2,000 elite warriors, you do not make them your enemy. You make them your allies before someone else does.